Good morning, everyone. Maganda at mapagpalang umaga sa ating lahat. Welcome to Day 5 of the 35th Philippine Chemistry Congress. I am Alan Rodel M. Salcedo, and I will be your MC for today. And I'm sure you may still be feeling the hangover of the recent days' hectic activities and probably the information overload from listening to all of our speakers' presentation. But for now, everyone can just relax. For the time being, let us all channel our attention to a discussion and exchange of ideas among our distinguished speakers, discussants, and moderators. They will share their perspectives and ideas on how we can strategically be able to build back better through chemistry. That sounds familiar, right? Yes, because that is the theme of this year's Philippine Chemistry Congress. This discussion will revolve along the context of the many challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic and how the simplest and the most intricate mechanisms of chemistry can help us in traversing to the new normal. And to introduce our resource persons and moderate this discussion forum, please join me in welcoming the presidents of the two member organizations of the Philippine Federation of Chemistry Societies, PFCS. Friends, let us all extend a warm welcome to the President of the Kapisanang Kimika ng Pilipinas, KKP, Dr. Cristina A. Binag, and the President of the Philippine Association of Chemistry Teachers, PACT, Dr. Voltaire Organo. Dr. Binag and Dr. Organo, welcome and good morning.
Good
Magandang
morning.
umaga at maraming salamat, Dr. Alan. Magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. No? Good morning, everyone. Magandang umaga, Volts.
Good morning,
Today-
Ma'am Tina.
Yes, today will be a great opportunity to have a conversation about the current challenges that our community are experiencing and how to move forward. With us are resource persons who are amongst the country's top experts in the field of the chemical sciences in various sectors. We have experts to represent our colleagues in the chemical industry, government, academe, and research institutions.
We will have two keynote talks this morning to be followed by short messages from our five discussants. After the messages, we will immediately proceed with the discussion proper. The first keynote speaker to share with us his insights about the theme is a dedicated public servant. He is committed to the upliftment of science and technology in the country to serve the ordinary Filipino. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome an exemplary government leader, the Secretary of the Department of Science and Technology, Dr. Fortunato T. de la Peña.
Thank you. Thank you to Dr. Tabian Dairit, Chairperson of the 35th Philippine Chemistry Congress Program Committee, to Dr. Glenn Alea, Chairperson of the 35th Philippine Chemistry Congress Organizing Committee, to Dr. Cristina Binag, who heads the Chemistry Society, and of course to our MC today, Dr. Salcedo, and to the rest of our panelists, members of the Philippine Federation of Chemistry Societies, participants, distinguished guests, um, ladies and gentlemen, and also friends from media, a pleasant day to everyone. First, I would like to convey my sincerest appreciation to the organizing committee for inviting me to the 35th Philippine Chemistry Congress. The theme for this event, Build Back Better Through Chemistry, is very significant to what is happening globally. The current COVID-19 pandemic that relates to health concerns and other issues such as climate change, pollution, biodiversity loss, food safety, and security, among others. The theme for the event, Build Back Better Through Chemistry, is very significant to what is happening globally. The current COVID-19 pandemic that relates to health concerns, okay? Well, chemistry as part of our everyday life, of course, we find chemistry in the food we eat, in the air we breathe, in the cleaning chemicals that we use. There is chemistry in emotions and every object we see or touch. Chemistry deals with the investigation of the properties and changes of matter, how our body exchanges oxygen, how the universe was created, all have a side of chemistry associated with it. Okay. I apologize. I think the screen sharing is not yet working. Just wait a little. So we all agree that chemistry is a powerful tool that can be used for the common good or it can lead to destruction. So let us focus on the good side. Okay, sharing screen, please. Please screen now. The screen sharing.
Pa
Yes,
po,
sir.
Secretary Boy.
Oh, you cannot get.
System doesn't allow the system doesn't allow us to share.
Oh, okay, the system does not allow.
Is it possible for us to send the PowerPoint?
Can you send the PowerPoint?
Eliard, Secretary
Uh,
Boy is requesting if they could send the PowerPoint for us to play the PowerPoint for them.
yes, sir. Please send it.
Pwede po, Secretary.
Which email address po?
Whose email address?
I'll
Please?
type it in the chat box.
In the chat.
Sorry for the delay.
But could you try screen sharing again, sir?
Still the same. Doesn't allow us to. So I'm sorry, sir. It still doesn't allow us
Na-send mo
due
na ba?
to some.
Okay.
I'll just send it to you.
Please
Okay,
send it.
anyway,
Please
I
send it.
can just continue with my message and then maybe we can catch up with the screen sharing. So first, maybe allow me to discuss the present global issues and concerns of which chemistry has a significant role in providing solutions. The World Health Organization, as early as 1998, okay, made a definition of disasters as serious disruptions to the functioning of a community or society affecting widespread human, material, economic, or environmental losses that exceed the ability of the affected community to cope using its resource. Disasters can be caused by natural, artificial, and technological hazards and various factors that influence exposure and vulnerability. So we can now relate to that definition. These disasters can be caused by natural, artificial, okay, and technological hazards and various factors influencing exposure and vulnerability. So I wanted to repeat that. In the Philippines, we have been hit by several types of disasters, including volcanic eruptions, typhoon, ashfall, earthquake, and greatly affected by the severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2 or SARS-CoV-2, which is responsible for this COVID-19 pandemic. Disasters increase continuously in frequency and magnitude. The asymmetries of advancing technological capacities and the narrowing choices of poor communities may contribute to hazard exposure while the rate of urbanization is accelerating and the climate is changing to catastrophic outcomes. Again, we can relate to those. Chemistry can help us understand the mechanisms of natural hazards, of atmospheric, geological, hydrological, and biological origins, and analyze the transformation of these hazards into disasters. Let us now discuss the application of chemistry to these disasters, focusing on the theme Build Back Better through Chemistry. Build Back Better, or BBB. It sounds like build, 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 okay? But now Build Back Better. It makes use of the three phases like recovery, rehabilitation, and reconstruction. After a disaster, the main focus is to heighten the flexibility of countries and societies through incorporating disaster risk reduction measures in restoring physical infrastructure and societal systems, and into the revitalization of livelihoods, economies, and the environment. I just would like to mention years ago when I was still younger at the OST, we did not have a big allocation for R&D in disaster risk reduction. But today, it actually takes up a very big percentage of our R&D resources. The Build Back Better Task Force, okay, is a high-level institutional platform and a more permanent body that will streamline and expedite post-disaster efforts in a sustained and integrated manner with an apparent unity of command. So you can see here the three, looks like cylinders, recovery, rehabilitation, and reconstruction. As we hope for greater resilience among nations, chemistry will help us achieve sustainable, shall we say, goals, sustainable energy, sustainable food production, managing our environment, providing safe drinking water, and promoting human and environmental health and safety. Sounds like the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs. Next slide, please. The three phases of the Build Back Better, which includes recovery, rehabilitation, and construction, aims to restore affected communities' lives and livelihood. It also seeks to restore the essential services and facilities for a community to function and rebuild resilient critical infrastructure for the full functioning of a society affected by a disaster to avoid or reduce future disaster risk. These three phases are and should be aligned with sustainable development and the Build Back Better principles. Here, chemistry reinforces the determination of suitable quality materials, okay, for infrastructure and identifies safe resources for consumption to avoid contamination and provides research outcomes used in decision making for risk management. Again, I would like to mention here that in the National Disaster Risk Reduction Council, there are four pillars, and the DOST heads one of the pillars, which is actually prevention. So this is where our institutes like Pag-asa and PBOTS are very much involved, and even our Advanced Science and Technology Institute. Uh, so let us now move to slide 5. Here we are already in slide 5. There are 10 critical propositions, okay, for the Build Back Better principle. Ibalik ito.
Previous slide.
That communities with risk of disasters and other forms of calamity can adopt. These propositions were gleaned from the Indian Ocean tsunami disaster by the United Nations. Number one, governments, donors, and aid agencies must recognize that families and communities drive their recovery. It is pointless to speed up the completion of recovery programs when the rights of the affected community are compromised. Number two, disaster recovery must promote fairness and equity. During the recovery period, discrimination in any form should not prevail. Number three, governments must enhance preparedness for future disasters as the world is becoming more vulnerable to all forms of hazard. That reminds me of our advocacy to establish by law a Virology and Vaccine Institute of the Philippines. Number four, local governments must be empowered to manage recovery efforts, and donors must devote greater resources to strengthening government recovery institutions, especially at the local level. Number five, good recovery planning and effective coordination depends on good information. Time and accurate information is crucial throughout a relief and recovery process. Number six, the UN, the World Bank, and other multilateral agencies must clarify their roles and relationships, especially in addressing the early stage of a recovery process. Disaster recovery and reconstruction may gain efficiencies when multilateral agencies are aligned and work in complement. Number seven, the expanding role of NGOs and the Red Cross and the Red Crescent movement carries greater responsibilities for quality in recovery effort. Number eight, from the start of recovery operations, governments and aid agencies must create the conditions for entrepreneurs to flourish. Okay, so that is one area where we are very much involved now, the Department of Science and Technology, for entrepreneurship to flourish. Okay, that's why we are supporting startups. Activities would include reviving and expanding private economic activity, employment, and secure diverse livelihood opportunities for affected populations. Number nine, beneficiaries deserve the kind of agency partnerships that move beyond rivalry and unhealthy competition, harness efforts across local and international organizations, and working or not working well together can determine the quality and outcome of the recovery process. So these are actually the lessons learned from the tsunami recovery key propositions. Number 10, good recovery must leave communities safer by reducing risk and building resilience. An essential test for a good recovery effort is whether it leaves survivors less vulnerable to natural hazard. From these 10 key propositions, chemistry can be integrated into the recovery, rehabilitation, and reconstruction initiatives of its nation or community and use the Build Back Better principle to come out stronger and more prepared before the onset of a new calamity. Next slide, please. The significance of chemistry into building a community is far-reaching. From here on, I will actually cite real examples of initiatives that are undertaken by agencies of the Department of Science and Technology and our partners, okay, mostly through research and development. So chemistry has been primarily responsible for shaping society. from developing more robust materials for large-scale construction to what kind of cosmetics and personal care products you use every day. Next slide, please. The applications of chemistry directly affect our daily lives. As I said earlier, what we eat, what we wear, transportation, electricity, and treatment of illnesses, among others. Chemistry is almost everywhere. And this Build Back Better principle is a very timely call for us to use chemistry in building resilient communities, whatever and whenever we are faced with calamities. Next slide, please. The DOST has crafted as early as 2017 the Harmonized National Research and Development Agenda to ensure that the results are geared towards and are utilized in areas of maximum economic and social benefit for the people. That is actually our mandate. This endeavor is in consultation with government and private research and development institutions, the academe, industry, and other concerned agencies. And the formulation of this harmonized national R&D agenda is in line with the DOST's mandate of providing central direction, governance, and coordination of the country's scientific and technological efforts, and becoming a support arm of the government in building back better calamity hit communities. Here we can see the breakdown into sectors. We have the basic research agenda, health research agenda, the agri-aqua and natural resources research agenda, industry, energy, and the emerging technologies, and disaster risk reduction and climate change adaptation. And this harmonized R&D agenda is actually um, uh, put up by supposed to be put up by every administration. So the period covered here is 2017 to 2022. This its NRDA is aligned, of course, to the overall goals, and we have heard about Ambition 2040. Now, we at the department use this NHRDA as a guide in formulating our research and scientific endeavors, in prioritizing projects. And in this agenda, chemistry is undeniably a critical factor in the success of the DOST interventions. Whether you are talking of basic research, whether you are talking of health R&D, whether you are talking of agri, aqua, and natural resources R&D, or industry, energy, and emerging technology R&D, or disaster risk reduction R&D, you can see chemistry. Next slide, please. The DOST is, well, this is now the set of examples that I can mention. So under the basic research agenda, and these are actually supervised by our National Research Council of the Philippines. It includes the DOST Food Safety Program. So the DOST is currently preparing a food safety program to address the emerging issues on food safety. Some of the agency's initiatives are R&D studies on allergens that cause food hypersensitivities to some individuals. The R&D will involve the validation of test methods to measure the presence of allergens in selected foods. R&D on packaging chemical hazards such as bisphenol A, acetaldehyde, benzophenone, and phthalates will also be studied. Okay, we have a one whole packaging R&D division at the Department of Science and Technology. In fact, next month we will be inaugurating two of their facilities, the simulated packaging testing laboratory and the green packaging laboratory. Okay, so the chemical compounds that I mentioned can cause developmental defects, increase susceptibility to cancer, and abnormalities in brain development and fat metabolism. Scientific and technological services of the Food Safety Program will focus on establishing reliable and globally acceptable measurements, including toxins, food authenticity or presence of contaminants, and shelf life studies. Chemistry plays a major role in the determination and quantification of these food safety parameters. The studies on these chemical compounds and the establishment of chemical analysis methods for accurate measurement will help the regulatory bodies formulate policies for the regulation and for the protection and of the health and safety of Filipinos. This study will greatly benefit the industry to avoid financial losses due to barriers to trade and make their products globally competitive. About 2 years ago, we participated together with other departments like DA, DOH, to a um, training program, a very comprehensive training program on food safety sponsored by Temasek Foundation of Singapore. And when these participants, numbering about 120, came back, they came up with various, shall we say, back home action plans, okay? And it has been translated into actual projects. And our food safety program, I think, benefited a lot from that kind of training abroad. Next, move on to the next slide. Now, still under basic research agenda, although the funding of these projects can actually come from various councils, this is the interventions on food, okay? And we can identify specific institutes of DOST related to this, okay? So DOST is ready to assist in the recovery and rehabilitation stage of calamity-stricken areas through R&D interventions to promote nutritious food. Okay, you can see at the leftmost side the enhanced Nutriban. Because of the, shall we say, suspension of face-to-face classes, the feeding program for children in the public schools, which is supported by DepEd, by DSWD, and local governments, of course, had difficulty because the children are not going to school where the food is being prepared and delivered to them. Now, so FNRI decided to revive the Nutriban of the 70s and 80s and called it the Enhanced Nutriban because it contains all the nutrients that are needed for a particular meal. Okay, and it has been transferred to all interested parties. Okay, the only condition is that they have to follow the strict conditions for good manufacturing practices, and so that they can be given a license to operate by the Food and Drug Administration. We also have the other relief food items. Okay, so you can see at the middle, the pack of hope relief foods. It started with the arroz caldo. It continued on with the rice and smoked fish instant meal. And now they have developed additional. So the cream of corn and chicken soup for the elderly was developed also as a ready-to-eat food, particularly that can be distributed during times of disaster. And then they have the ready-to-eat boiled egg that can be preserved for months. And they even had suman, okay, that contained some beef in it as part of these ready-to-eat foods. Now, we have been running the food innovation centers in all regions of the country. These are strategically located so that our enterprises can create innovative food ideas that will address the food industry requirements within the regions, knowing that there are unique, probably unique opportunities because of unique food materials or ingredients, and also because there are certain special sector needs in the provinces. It is envisioned that the food innovation centers could assist our micro, small, and medium enterprises, both in the urban center and countryside, for these innovative technologies. And they have already produced more than 1,000 of these innovative food products. The goal, of course, is to provide more effective technology application, deployment, and commercialization for sustained economic growth and productivity. So chemistry plays a very important role in food production and food preservation. So we are very, of course, concerned about food additives that keep the food from spoiling and extending their shelf life. But food additives like colors can make food more attractive and flavorings to make food tastier. This scientific advice informs decision makers who regulate chemicals in food or seek to limit their presence in the food chain. So we conduct training on these particular issues on food additives, food coloring, and flavorings. Next slide, please. So from disaster, we have moved to food. Okay, now we move into the health portion. Actually, in the slide, you can see uh, graphics or pictures, okay, that gives us an idea of the new facilities, state-of-the-art facilities that we have put up or we want to put up. On the leftmost side is the Virology Science and Technology Institute of the Philippines. The bill has been passed on third reading at the House of Representatives, so that is considered approved at the House of Representatives. Now our lobbying will move over to the Senate, okay, for the creation of the Virology Science and Technology Institute of the Philippines. There is a lot of chemistry involved here. And then we have also in the area of manufacturing the availability of our 3D printing facilities. The 3D printing facilities have recently been used, okay, particularly in producing certain items that are needed, okay, like this personal protective equipment, and also some items that are needed to repair, okay, devices in hospitals that are very much needed and where the parts may not be easily available. So they can be actually done through 3D printing. Okay, and we have now the facility under the Advanced Manufacturing Center, divided into two areas, one run by the Metals Industry Research and Development Center, the real 3D printing itself, and the Industrial Technology Development Institute for the development and discovery of new materials that can be used for 3D printing. You can see on the rightmost side the contribution of the Philippine Textile Research Institute in the rewear mask that they have developed. And we are fortunate that very quickly, even if it's not included in our budget, but because we justified and industry and the health sector also supported us, we were given 77 million pesos by the Department of Budget and Management to set up the facility for the testing of medical textiles. Okay, so we now have that facility at PTRI. Next slide, please. Chemistry also plays a significant role in various agriculture, aquatic, okay, and natural resources interventions to address hunger and the utilization of natural resources. More importantly, to alleviate poverty amidst calamity. Some of the DOST researches involve organic agriculture and organic farming, the adoption of improved commercial scale mangrove crab hatchery nursery systems, and in certain places. And of course, we also utilize the so-called senile rubber trees, okay, that are actually they have to be cut up already because they have exceeded the normal number of productive years. Okay, for example, more than 30 years for a rubber tree, that is already, shall we say, in the domain of senility of the trees. And whereas before they were just used as fuel and other very low valued uses, now we have set up a facility, and I hope we can still replicate this in other rubber producing areas. And this is actually the processing of senile rubber so that they can be used for higher value products. Okay, so we have set this up in some Zamboanga, Sibugay, and really employing up-to-date technologies, okay, so that we can treat and convert this senile rubber wood into uses like high-valued furniture and the like. Okay, so chemistry has a role in the conservation of our natural resources. Okay, it is a science that helps us to use both renewable and non-renewable researches. Chemistry is the science that, or our chemists contribute to the invention and design of materials. Okay, so from electronics to medicine and other sectors, we have research ongoing for these new materials. As I already mentioned earlier, we have a green packaging laboratory which hopes to utilize the waste, okay, that come from agricultural products. For example, out of the food that we process, there are certain parts that we throw away, okay, and this can actually be developed, okay, through research into what we call green packaging. Next slide, please. So we have actually, in support of our strategy of inclusive and sustainable development, we have actually introduced the Science for Change program, and it has four components. One of them is the setting up of niche research centers in the regions, or NICER. The other one is the collaborative R&D to leverage the Philippine economy, which is actually another phrase to mean that we are trying to partner together enterprises and the research organizations, mostly found in universities and government institutions, to work together to solve a common problem or to come up with a, shall we say, an innovation, both in terms of products, technologies, or processes. And then we also have our RD Lead program, which helps our regions by way of the services of our national experts who can actually be deployed in the regions and stay there for quite some time to help them in their to strengthen their research capability and the research program. So this is ongoing now. We have already invaded all 16 regions or 17, including BARM, to deploy our RD leaders, okay, to help them. Now, we also have a BIS program, a Business Innovation through Science and Technology, which is actually similar to our Small Enterprise Technology Upgrading Program, except that in the Small Enterprise Technology Upgrading Program, we help them acquire hardware and software that can be used for production. While in the BIST program, we help them acquire hardware and software that can be used to have their own R&D facility in their enterprise. Okay, so let me go back to this Cradle program, and we can see here, okay, the DOST has assisted several partnerships between academe and industry. It's really industry that identifies the problem, and they select the partner research organization, either a university or a government R&D institution, to partner with them because they have the problem and the university has the expertise, the researchers, okay, and both have a motivation to do R&D, but maybe at different points of view. Okay, so in industry they want to solve their problems, their real problems on hand, and to develop products and technologies. And on the part of our researchers, of course, they also want to publish, they want to have intellectual properties protected, etc. But we provide them an incentive. If they partner together and they put their own investments for the partnership, we top that with our own contribution so that it can proceed as a partnership R&D project. So some of the examples here, I will not mention anymore the institutions that are involved. The first one is a fermentation and purification research to produce food grade, pharmaceutical grade, and polymer grades lactic acid. And it aims to produce various grades, food grade, pharmaceutical grade, and polymer grade lactic acid from the fermentation broth of sago. The other one is the development of efficient semiochemical management method for banana flower thrips, and this aims to control the flower thrips in the Cavendish banana plantation. This was done in Panabo, okay, in the company called Tadesi, using an environment-friendly pest management method. Next slide, please. This is also an application of chemistry in a cradle project, the production of dietary fiber using sugarcane bagasse from raw sugar manufacturing. It aims to produce dietary fiber from sugarcane bagasse in a cost-effective process as an immediate product for functional food formulation with a high market value. If you can visit the Industrial Technology Development Institute also, where they have the multi industry innovation center, you can see their products there, which actually produces fiber tablets coming from the waste of fruits that are processed. Okay, so yung mga galing sa mga mangoes, calamansi, okay, imbes na tinatapon, nakaka-extract sila ng fibers that can be converted into fiber tablets. Then you have the application of natural antioxidants derived from sugarcane for food supplements and cosmetics production formulations. This is to characterize the bioactive compounds present in sugarcane extract and utilize them in food supplement, and personal care product. Next slide, please. We are now moving towards the end. The DOST is also ever ready to provide reliable information and forecasts about natural calamities to mitigate disaster risk and adapt to climate change. Our DOST Pag-asa and PBOLS are our frontline agencies here, giving real-time updates during typhoons, earthquakes, and volcanic eruptions. Some of you may recall that during the Taal eruption last year, there were so many pronouncements from PBOLS, okay, that actually contain many chemical facts, okay, involves chemistry in their prediction, in their observations and forecast involving the eruption. Chemistry has a considerable contribution to meteorology also. Earthquake chemistry and heat flux volcanic gas plays a major role in forecasting this natural phenomena. This chemical weather forecasting is currently made possible due to quick growing supercomputer capabilities and operationally available high-resolution numerical weather prediction data as a driver for atmospheric chemical transport models, or ACTMs. Chemistry is also a beneficial science in predicting earthquakes by detecting the mixing of deep and shallow groundwater. Okay? Although talagang mahirap i-predict ang earthquake. Okay? Now, deuterium and sodium concentrations increase before earthquakes, and chemists play a part in this natural phenomenon. Next slide, please. Finally, the DOST continuously updates and upgrades its facilities to cater to the chemical testing needs of the industry. And only licensed chemists and chemical technicians can perform chemical analysis in compliance with the chemistry law. Okay, so we have our one lab network of the DOST, which includes the private testing laboratories with the referral system for fast one-stop transactions to test a wide variety of products from our MSMEs, from academe and the government and research sector. So wherever you are, you can submit your sample. They will take care of forwarding it to the laboratory, which has the capability to do the analysis. So we now have, in addition to the 22 laboratories of the DOST, we have a number of laboratories that are operated by other departments like the DENR, DOH, DA, and of course from the private sector. There are also, I think, 3 or 4 laboratory testing facilities found in Thailand and Vietnam that are part of our One Lab network. The latest, of course, that we who signed up with us as part of the network is Nestle Philippines. The metrology in chemistry also conducts proficiency testing programs to verify our lab's competence and produces reference materials for laboratories' accuracy check of their measurement. And there is also the Halal Verification Lab, which we have in Calabarzon, in Region 12 in Cotabato, and in Region 11 Davao. These laboratories have the advanced equipment and the capability to determine the presence of non-halal components in products, including food, cosmetics, and personal care, to serve the religious requirements of our Muslim brothers and sisters. Next slide, please. Efficient and effective post-disaster recovery, rehabilitation, and reconstruction can cease the damages inflicted on humanity. This strategy will impede the fall of poor communities into cyclical poverty. Through their phases, recovery, rehabilitation, and reconstruction, they will provide the opportunity to rebuild beyond pre-disaster states for safer, more sustainable, and resilient communities. Next slide, please. Disaster-affected communities, countries, and communities are oftentimes much better equipped to build back better during the extended period of recovery, rehabilitation, and reconstruction when they have taken actions to strengthen recovery capacity and decision-making effectiveness before the onset of disasters. And for the last slide, with all the challenges faced by almost all countries around the globe, society has benefited hugely from advances in chemistry. With a few discoveries outlined here, which is just a part of a cross-section of the chemical innovations that have driven society's development. While discoveries in chemistry have made an enormous impact and continue to have vast prospective impacts, we also need to make sure that we use them responsibly to contribute to the Build Back Better initiatives and to ensure sustainability into the future. I sincerely believe that much can be done by your group, okay, our chemists here in our country, and of course, the government has also to provide the needed uh, ecosystem, okay, uh, institutions, okay, the policies, the facilities that will be needed in the process. Magandang umaga muli sa ating lahat.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Secretary de la Peña. Thank you too for emphasizing the importance of chemistry. And through chemistry R&D, these issues and concerns are addressed. I'm sure that many of our colleagues here are eager to engage in discussion with you regarding DOST's R&D projects, achievements, and plans you have mentioned. We will entertain questions later after our discussants gave their short messages. For now, please join me in thanking Secretary de la Peña with our warm virtual applause. Our next keynote speaker is the General Manager of Chemrest Technologies Incorporated that operates the Philippines' first continuous process biodiesel plant, integrated oleochemical for chemical specialties, and manufactures and sells powder coatings and resins. He held this position since 2010. He is a chemical engineer by profession, obtaining his degree from Mapua University. He also has an EMBA management degree from Drucker School of Management, Claremont Graduate University, California, USA. Before becoming the general manager of Chemrest, he was the director of quality process engineering and color science laboratory in Frasi Paints, California, USA. He was also the director of quality management, process engineering, benchmarking, and color science lab in Burr Process Corporation, also in California. And he was the vice president for operations in Pacific Paint, Boysen Philippines Incorporated. And for today, he will talk about the directions that the Philippine chemical industry can take to develop our agricultural resources in a sustainable manner while maintaining a competitive advantage. Ladies and gentlemen, please all welcome Mr. Henry C.
Hi everyone, my name is Henry C. I am the General Manager of Chemistry Technologies. On behalf of our Managing Director, Dean Lau Jr., I would like to extend our congratulations to the organizers of the 35th Philippine Chemistry Congress. I'd like to thank the Philippine Federation of Chemistry Societies, PFCS, for their kind invitation to speak before you today. Chemistry Technologies Incorporated operates under DNL Industries as the Philippines' first continuous process biodiesel plant, integrated oleochemical for chemical specialties, and manufactures powder coatings and polymer emulsions. For today, I'll be giving my take on the academe and industry collaboration. Presentation outline. I have outlined my talk in 3 topics. First, let me briefly introduce my company, DNL Industries Incorporated. The second part of my talk will revolve on how chemical industry can be a partner in nation building. The later slides will highlight steps that we have taken to practice collaboration and innovation. DNL Industries is a Filipino company which through the years evolved from being a small chemical trader to manufacturer with state-of-the-art product development capabilities. The company's principal business activities include manufacturing of customized food ingredients, specialty raw materials for plastics, polymer emulsions for coatings industries, and oleochemical for personal and home care use. Many of you might not know much about DNL, but I'm sure you are quite familiar with our customers. As a leading B2B2C company in the Philippines, we have long-standing customer relationship with mostly consumer companies, where more than 70% of sales are to these consumer companies. We are into flavor, toppings, food, fragrance, spray, brake cleaners, polymer emulsions. Longest standing is a relationship with Boys and Philippines. Innovation for sustainability and competitiveness. We live in a competitive world. Sustainable competitiveness is being able to successfully compete and exist in the long term. We can achieve competitive success through act of innovation. At DNL Industries, we are research-oriented. We always keep abreast of the latest technology and have our fingers on the pulse of the market to identify the market needs and must be met. A recipe for success is to begin with the basic commodity and add a dose of ingenuity to create a product desired by consumers that also has a value edge on the competition. To be successful here, private industries need to, in the involvement of many experts and stakeholders, study conditions and trends, develop a vision, chart the future, and develop strategic and operational plans. The humble coconut, Cocos nucifera is the scientific name, has figured as the second national tree of the Philippines, largely credited for its widespread growth across the archipelago. Just as plants' versatility that benefits the daily lives of its people, the country is recognized as one of the world's largest producer of coconut and had for decades relied much on copra and coconut oil as its largest agricultural export. Tapping into the healthful potential of coconut oil, by isolating its component, we at Chemres were able to extract the medium-chain triglyceride, or commonly known as MCT, the magic compound unique to coconut oil that is potent in health-giving and life-sustaining properties. Likened to a human breast milk, MCT is a rich source of 4 fatty acids that are considered building blocks of cells: proic acid, caprylic acid, capric acid, and lauric acid. This development enables us at Chemrest to employ these unique fatty acids and increase their utility to create exceptional and diversified products to deliver better nutrition, lifestyle, and quality of life. We utilize proprietary technology. Investing in such technology allow us to produce biodiesel with consistency and efficiently from the onset. We're convinced that coconut oil is indeed the best biodiesel feedstock based on the certain quality parameter and technical specifications. We are optimistic that this high value added product from coconut oil will indeed set the direction towards a sustainable coconut industry development, create more jobs, and provide better economic livelihood for our coconut farmers. Early this month, we launched our C8 MCT, cut for energy boost. We use a multidiscipline approach to produce products that will enhance properties. This collaboration requires chemists to work with material scientists, all kinds of engineers, mechanical, electrical, chemical engineers, process engineers, biologists, to work together to come up with innovative products in the desired time frame. One of the big issues is in the scale-up production. The question that we always raise in our system is, how do you scale up production as quickly, cheaply, consistently, and safely as possible? For example, agitation or lack of it at the production scale can affect the order in which ingredients are added and perhaps necessitate additional equipment or precursor steps. Other influences that aren't really visible in the lab scale may come into play at the pilot, prototype, and production scales. These are indeed great challenges to manufacturing companies from lab to production. More interestingly, there's an advent of new technologies. This is, I think, quite interesting for chemists to know how the future will be. Chemical synthesis plays a key role in industry research and development. Investment in research directed towards synthetic methods innovation, furthering the progression of synthetic chemistry and developing new technologies to accelerate methods discovery is essential. For instance, batch reactors, which are currently being used today, might be replaced with a flow reactor, which can offer superior control over a wide range of reaction conditions such as fast mixing time, short residence time, well-defined reaction time. This new technology can hasten R&D time because you don't need to make big batches, big is 1 liter batch. You can just produce so many mLs to get the parameters that you want to achieve. This technology, as I present to you, I've seen this in the lab of Dr. Gobet Advincula at Case Western University. Efficient dispersion technology. We use the latest technology to address the evolving needs of our clients. For instance, in the paints and coatings industry, colorants and pigment dispersions are formulated for a wide array of applications, such as tinting architectural paints, rubber latex, wood coatings, concrete mixture, textile, urethane foam, and other coatings. This product has been developed in collaboration with customers and industry experts. A good example also on what we have learned in this technology of pigment dispersion, we were able to adopt the same process in our health and wellness group. The one that takes traditionally 4 days of dispersion can now be achieved using this technology in 3 to 4 hours. What are the challenges for the future? Through the leadership of innovation and the continued passion for research and development, we have distinguished ourselves as partner that provides effective innovation solutions that enrich customer business and deliver growth. One driver for innovation is a focus on disruptive technology to create a new market and eventually displace established market-leading firm products and alliances. This is when you hear about the technology of blue ocean. Blue because it is something new. For example, in the coatings industry, such disruptive technology can come in the form of material with dual functionality or better characteristics like fast curing, or ability to cross-link in a simple presence of air or moisture, or UV light to produce tighter and more resistant film. You might witness in the future coatings that not only aesthetic or protective, but have the ability to generate power like solar panels today. Okay. Introduction of nanotechnology in our midst. TiO2 traditionally exhibit good whiteness and opacity in paint film, but in nano size, it loses all these original properties. And suddenly, it acts as a catalyst to fight pollution. We pride ourselves of having our intellectual properties. An organization that owns IP can realize value from it in several ways. For instance, utilizing it internally for its own processes or provision for goods and services to customer, sharing it externally. So owning a IT protects your R&D work to be copied by other companies. Building technical capacity. We are shaped and driven by research and development. And our disciplined approach to innovation, strong partners to our research and innovation efforts are our well-trained scientific and technical staff. We have invested heavily on staff training and continuing education apart from securing advanced and special equipment. These are just some of the equipments we have in recent years. Building technical capabilities and expertise to drive innovation. We have encouraged our active participation from our R&D personnel or chemists to present in scientific meetings like Philippine Chemistry Congress in Palawan and conference here and abroad. We are also providing opportunities to publish our work in internationally recognized scientific journals. Now, for the academe-industry linkage. Academe-industry linkage, we believe strongly in building strong and productive academe-industry linkage. Part of this effort is working with various universities as partner in organizing technical courses and webinars. In previous years, we have co-organized with De La Salle University various short courses program on polymer and colloid chemistry, as well as rheology in bringing international experts as resource person for these events. On the polymer side, we brought in Dr. Tom Siri from University of Connecticut. And we brought in one of the best, if not the best in rheology in USA, Dr. Ray Fernando from Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Another form of academic industry collaboration is with Ateneo de Manila University. We have worked with Ateneo de Manila University in developing curricular programs solely designated for our industry, so we can sponsor our R&D personnel to pursue graduate courses. Another academic collaboration is with Mindanao State University with Iligan Institute of Technology, which is designated as a Center for Sustainable Polymers. Currently, we are working with the laboratory of Professor Arnold Lugluban of the Chemical Engineering Department for coconut polyol utilization. We have previously hosted Professor Lugluban as a balik scientist before he joined MSU. Now, industry linkage is very important in order to commercialize products at an extremely faster pace. Our collaboration is with Energy Development Corporation, or EDC. EDC is the largest producer of geothermal energy in the Philippines and the second largest in the world. It is involved in alternative energy projects, including geothermal, hydroelectric, and wind energy projects. We are collaborating with EDC regarding the various product development and field testing efforts for geothermal application. One outcome of this collaboration led to a locally developed scale inhibitor formulation for EDC, where EDC was able to cut down 70% of their costs using our formulation compared to what they have used before. We still have a long way to go, but we're happy that we embark on this path as our contribution, not only to country's effort to help out in the economic development, but also in the field of science and technology. Our simple contribution to the society. As a suggestion on the academic industry linkage, the industry has to open a similar program as Balik Scientist program. Set up company liaison officers to top expert in the field of academe. We have to know each other more. The university, as we suggest, to have a database in the field of interest of professors so that industry can search for expertise in their field. Professors to have a dedicated professional website to show their area of specialization, academic research. Let me show you one website that we can use. Like our previous speaker, Dr. Kobet Abincula shows about his research papers and all his expertise so that it's easy for the industry to look at and find a matching template with the expertise of the professors. Professors to interact or partner with industries. In many cases, companies or industries are very practical in the application side. But in many cases, we are weak in the theoretical side. That is augmented by the researchers, the professor, the expert in their own field that can work with us in a practical sense to bridge this collaboration. This is very important. I think in USA, this is a very matured field. As one of our advisors, Dr. Advin Kula had many years of industry experience, so he can really pick up ideas quite fast. Industry academe to set up workable intellectual property collaboration. This is the first step for this collaboration to work. Once it's out of the picture, we can concentrate on our researches faster and for both academe and industry to gain. Thank you very much. We'll be happy to answer your questions later.
Thank you, Mr. Henry C., for your insights. At this point, we will ask our 5 discussants to give short messages before we proceed with the discussion proper. First is the chair of the Board of Chemistry. She has a BS Chemistry degree from UP Diliman, an MS in Agricultural Chemistry minor in Food Science from UP Los Baños, and PhD in Agricultural Science from Tohoku University in Japan. She worked at the International Rice Research Institute for 34 years and was appointed to the PRC Board of Chemistry in 2004. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Honorable Dr. Adoracion Resurrection.
Thank you. Good morning to all. It is the earnest desire of our community to make building back better through chemistry happen. What should guide us in our pursuit of this goal? Let our efforts be guided by the chemistry law. our efforts for building back better through chemistry. And it states, the policy of the chemistry law states, chemistry is vital to public safety, the national economy, and the protection of the environment. It is therefore the policy of the state to promote, regulate, and protect the professional practice of chemistry and to ensure the continued development of high international standards of the practice of chemistry in the Philippines. The chemical laboratory's role with its chemists and chemical technicians during this building back period becomes more important since all types of chemical work like quality control, monitoring, research are performed in the laboratory. The increase in workload of chemical laboratories leads to a greater demand for chemistry professionals. The chemist licensure exams from 2015 to 2019 resulted in a total of 2,452 new chemists, while in the chemical technician licensure exams from 2017 to 2019, about 5,000 new chemical technicians passed. Still, we hear comments of difficulty in hiring a chemist. Therefore, the need to attract more chemists to pursue BS chemistry remains. The PRC BOC's role in regulating the practice of chemistry has to be further intensified. To be issued a certificate of authority to operate as required for operation by the Chemistry Profession Act, chemical laboratories in industry, government, and academes are inspected. They are evaluated on compliance to requirements of the Chemistry Profession Act, which includes sufficient PPE and safety devices, proper chemical storage and waste disposal, adequate facilities and equipment, safety manual, that the chemist heads the lab, one chemist for every 5 chemical technicians, that registered chemists or registered chemical technicians perform the analysis, and that a registered chemist certifies the certificate of analysis, that they have updated professional licenses, and hazard pay. Inspection activities have been suspended since March 2020. We hope conditions will improve soon so the board may be allowed to resume inspection of laboratories. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Resurrection. Our next discussant will represent the researchers. He finished his BS Chemistry for Teachers at Philippine Normal University, magna cum laude, and his MS Chemistry at De La Salle University, graduating with high academic distinction. He obtained his Doctor of Science in Chemistry degree at Tohoku University, Japan, specializing in organic synthesis and organometallic chemistry. He went to the University of California, Irvine for a postdoctoral fellowship in polymers. He joined the semiconductor industry at Intel, where he was awarded 2007 Employee of the Year, then followed by a stint at NXP Semiconductors for an R&D job before joining De La Salle University, Manila in 2009. He received the 2007 TUAS Prize for Young Scientist in the Philippines, the 2007 NAST Outstanding Young Scientist Award, and the 2010 NRCP Research Achievement Award, and the 2017 Newton Alcom Leaders in Innovation Fellowship Grant. He is presently the Scientific Director of DLSU's Central Instrumentation Facility in the LSU Laguna and the lab manager of NMR. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Professor Dr. Drexel Camacho.
Thank you for that introduction. So let me talk about researchers from the point of view of researchers. Now, research is the backbone of innovation. And in nation building, research should be emphasized as it defines the level of societal sophistication of the nation. In the Global Competitive Index, intellectual activity of the people is measured through innovation, research and development, disruptive businesses, innovative companies, among others. So our conference theme today is very timely as we prepare to rebuild our nation post-pandemic. As we build back better through chemistry, research should be an essential activity for most of us chemists. As emphasized by Dr. Padolina, there is a need to develop more researchers in chemistry. And we are thankful to the aggressive stance of DOST for providing more and more graduate scholarship grants to Filipinos. Young chemists should acquire advanced research skills, while older chemists should mentor well these young talents and help our country achieve its goals of the critical mass of scientists per million population. There is also a need to retain talents in chemistry by providing more jobs and higher salaries for researchers. New graduates should explore the industry. In my experience in the industry, they have always been looking for people with advanced degrees. The Balik Scientist program of DOST is also very laudable as it creates an impetus for local researchers to level up in terms of quality of research. I encourage you to host and engage Balik scientists in your institutions. The basic and applied chemistry research should be equally funded. As chemists, we should be able to adjust and reset our research topics to support the pressing need of the nation. Example is the need for the nation to be prepared for the next pandemic. Chemistry researchers are essential in the Plant Virology S&T Institute of the Philippines in designing new antiviral drugs. Exploring our vast and diverse natural resources, especially marine resources, should be intensified. As the country advances, chemists are also needed in the Philippine Space Agency in designing new materials. Research in the utilization of natural, synthetic, and nanomaterials should be a welcome contribution, not only in space applications, but in new and sustainable technologies such as in packaging and medical applications. New research area in biogeochemistry is essential to better understand the monitoring and prediction of natural disasters. In support of rebuilding and rebooting the economy, chemists should look at the needs of the industry, especially addressing the sustainability issues. Disruptive technologies in the area of packaging, catalysis, green processes, waste utilization, functional foods, energy, atom economy, among others, are highly desired. To achieve such goals, there is a need to forge stronger dialogue and partnership between industry, government, and academia. And I would like to commend the DOST again for setting the pace in the conduct of research and collaboration by providing huge fundings for various research programs. The challenge is actually on us, research chemists, in crafting innovative proposals that have wide impact to society. The research ecosystem is also an essential component in the success of research endeavors, foremost of which is the procurement process, which hinders the purchase of essential materials. There is a need to expedite the revision of the procurement law. The local suppliers need to level up in preparing reagents that are made locally so as not to be dependent on importation processes. Restrictions in research chemicals and reagents should also be eased up. In closing, the future of the world depends on chemistry. Let us all be part in providing solutions to the world's and our country's problems through innovative research. Maligayang pananaliksik, kabayan.
Thank you, Dr. Camacho. Our next discussant will represent the academe. She finished her Bachelor of Science in Secondary Education, major in Chemistry, MA in Education, and PhD in Education from UP Diliman. She is a recipient of the UP Diliman Centennial Professorial Chair. Let us welcome Dr. Edwina Eleanor S. Paderna.
Good morning, everyone. Last Monday, in my plenary talk, I referred to the journal article entitled Lessons from a Pandemic, Educating for Complexity, Change, Uncertainty, Vulnerability, and Resilience by the authors Talanker, Bukat, Tasker, and Mahaffey. I agree with them on their ideas that we could achieve more meaningful understandings if we replaced content coverage of multiple knowledge fragments with a careful integration of core understandings, fundamental practices, and systems thinking around overarching chemical themes. These, these chemistry themes could aid in the design of learning progressions that cut across single or multiple courses. They would help students transfer understandings first developed in specific contexts, but then generalized across multiple areas. They would also aid in the definition of integrated performance expectations to guide planning, instruction, and assessment. Let us move from the multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary approaches and consider doing what we call the transdisciplinary approach, where curriculum integration, which dissolves the boundaries between the conventional disciplines and organizes teaching and learning around the construction of meaning in the context of real world problems or themes. Chemistry investigations could rely on data collected in the laboratory settings when face to face is already possible, in the field, or available through local, national, or worldwide databases. We should diversify and introduce flexibility in our practical experiences and open room for students to pose questions that can be answered with different data sources and in different settings. Our assessments also need to be reimagined. We need to escape the confines of evaluation tools that are mainly designed to classify students in different bins and are whose answers are or can be made readily available through the internet. Let us invest more time on the development of assessments that ask students to integrate central ideas, fundamental practices, and systems thinking to analyze realistic scenarios, predict or explain relevant properties and behaviors across domains, and evaluate decisions and actions through socio-environmental lenses. Examples of such types of assessments already exist but are limited. We should invest our efforts in the creation and administration of these types of alternative assessments rather than in figuring out how to prevent students from finding canned answers online. The pandemic has tested the resilience of chemistry educators. Our emergence from the pandemic will equally test our imagination and creativity. Chemistry education is vital in strengthening the STEM pipeline in general and the chemistry pipeline in particular. Let us forge a more conscious collaboration and synergized actions among the government, industry, and education sectors. As such, we should rethink, re examine, re evaluate, and redesign our curriculum, instruction, and assessment to build back better our nation through chemistry. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Paderna. Next, to give a short message, is the President of the Integrated Chemists of the Philippines. He obtained his BS Chemistry degree at Ateneo de Manila University. He received his master's and PhD degrees from Princeton University, New Jersey, USA. He has received many awards and recognitions for his research and his leadership in science over the years. In 2009, he was elected to the National Academy of Science and Technology. He is highly regarded, energetic, dedicated, and effective leader who never stops working for the upliftment of the chemistry profession. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome academician Professor Dr. Fabian M. Dairit.
Yeah, maraming salamat, Tina. Thank you for very generous introduction, maybe too generous. I'd like to just share my slides. I prepared a small presentation for this, and I'll just look for it. Okay, so you can see my slides. Okay, so our society, industry, and economy, we're talking about build back better. But of course, our society, industry, and economy are already built structures, each with their own foundations. But we cannot build back better unless we understand the foundations upon which our structures are built. So my talk will focus mainly on the foundations, and this will lead to thoughts on research that we should open up to. My assignment in this forum is to discuss the possible implications for industry, although I'm not from industry itself. In the opening talk of this Congress, Dr. Padalina said that everything is chemistry. Indeed, in one way or another, all industry needs some aspect of chemistry. This is most especially true for the Philippines. We talk of our natural resources, both renewable and non-renewable, and indeed, we need chemistry for all of this. This is the coconut is a tree of life. And if you look at all the products seen here on things you can get from the nut itself, you can see that they all need chemistry. So the coconut, while the coconut is a tree of life, chemistry is needed for this tree of life. Now, the circular economy, which Dr. Padalina mentioned, and this slide I borrowed from Dr. Padalina's presentation. So the circular economy that we want to adopt as our new foundation requires the development of the science and technology of circular chemistry. However, we really do not know. We've talked about circular chemistry, but what does circular chemistry really mean? So if you look at this circular economy figure, and you look at each of those boxes and each of those lines, they all require chemistry. So chemistry is involved in all parts of the circular economy. Indeed, the circular economy needs circular chemistry. So our challenge is really to specify what do we really need by circular chemistry. Now, I'd like to go back to basic chemistry. We've all been taught mass balance as a way of describing chemical reactions. So the total weight of the reactants equals the total weight of the products. But usually we focus only on our desired product, in which case in this equation it would be product C, which is underlined. So we just focus on this desired product and ignore the other products, which are really waste. So what do we do with components D, E, and F in this reaction? For anyone who's done a chemical reaction, you know that, in fact, the amount of byproduct sometimes exceeds the amount of product that you produce. So, and this is only part of the problem. In a chemical reaction, we have a solvent, we have a catalyst, and then put in energy. And at the end of the reaction, we have spent solvent, we have spent catalyst, and we have waste energy. And then we have to worry about this challenge of entropy. So at the foundation, now what we usually do is we ignore everything else, and then we just look at C, and then we throw everything in chemical waste bin. At the foundation of chemistry, and indeed the chemical industry, are thermodynamics and kinetics. One of the challenges of thermodynamics is entropy. We react pure chemicals together in a solvent, and the chemical reaction produces a complex mixture of the desired product and many other chemicals that we just set aside as chemical waste. Our job as chemists is just to put the chemical waste and dispose of it, using whatever. But we've in that sense we've failed to look into how can we actually reduce chemical waste when we just throw it away. On the other hand, chemical kinetics basically tells us that maybe a better way of going from reactant to product using other routes or through the use of suitable catalysts. Being chemists in the laboratory, we know all too well that almost all chemical manipulations produce chemical waste. Current regulations require that we just classify this chemical waste and dispose of them properly. The challenge is whether we can redesign chemical reactions and processes that minimize or even eliminate the problem of chemical waste. Now, we've been talking about research, but who does research on chemical waste? Can someone take chemical waste and convert that into really useful products? All this requires us to go back better to our foundations and think of ways of doing things better. Chemistry is needed to build back better, and this is a big responsibility. So this is a challenge to the chemistry community. So thank you for your attention and welcome your questions.
Thank you, Dr. Dairit. Also joining us in our discussion is the Managing Director of ChemRes Technologies. He is the Chairman of the United Coconut Associations of the Philippines, Incorporated, and he received an undergraduate degree from Curtin University and completed an advanced management program at the Harvard Business School. Let us welcome Mr. Dean June A. Lau Jr. Good morning, sir. Okay, so now we will start the discussion. First, let me ask Secretary De La Peña. From day one, we heard several ways to bring back better through chemistry. One of the challenges mentioned was that of technology transfer. So may we know how can the government through DOST help researchers and inventors develop their inventions and discoveries into commercial products? May I ask Secretary De La Peña to comment, please, sir? Sir, can you open your mic?
We have a number of programs that addresses that concern. First of all, if the output or the technology is actually a result of a research and development project that we supported, that is already part of the arrangement. Okay, so the concern of the council in charge of that R&D project does not end with the completion of the research. It continues until the commercialization part. So the council in charge or the institute in charge will take care of seeing to it that there are these are communicated to prospective adopters. Now, if these are coming from independent innovators, inventors, we have the Technology Application and Promotion Institute that takes care of their concerns. First of all, it will check, okay, whether they have already secured intellectual property protection. If not, that is the first step in the assistance. If they already have intellectual property protection, then the next step will be perhaps assistance in prototyping. Of course, we can only spend so much for prototyping because one project may eat up all the funds that we have at the Technology Application and Promotion Institute if it's too big. Now, then the next stage will be the production of enough items or quantities that can be used for test marketing. And later on, We can even help them in the meeting the requirements of the market, like if they have purchase orders already and they need to procure materials, okay, then they can get assistance. This is in addition to the assistance provided by law for inventors, where we can guarantee their loans if they get it from the inventors, from the bank that handles the fund, which is at the moment the Development Bank of the Land Bank of the Philippines. Okay, so yun ang mga ways by which we can assist them. Of course, also through the promotion work that we do when, for example, when we have celebrations like the forthcoming National Science Technology Week, they can be included as part of the technologies that can be promoted. And our regional offices take care also of promoting technologies for transfer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. I believe Mr. C mentioned a collaboration between industry and the academe. Probably you can also comment on the question, Mr. C or Sir Dean Lau.
Nakamute si Sir Dean. Dean Lau.
Henry, go first. Please.
Sige. Yeah, the collaboration has been ongoing. I think we believe that there can be more collaboration in the future because as I stated in the presentation, normally manufacturing are very practical people. We look at efficiency, but sometimes the core technology, we really need help, no? Because not all companies can hire PhDs in their portfolio, but we can get consultants, we can get mentors to look into, oh, paano nangyari yun? So sometimes we cannot even explain what's going on, but we know the chemistry that it works like sa water going into a oil system and things like that. So the collaboration is really very good. The collaboration we did with MSU is a good example that Dr. Lubluban's working on the polyol system using our own coconut oil. So I think we just need to know paano namin matatap ang academe, not only academe but also retired researchers. Madaming retired people who are just a wealth of information in their head. Functionable naman sila. Paano lang matap siguro databasing, how to, it's a application of some kind of marketing research. Just like when you do research, you do the information technology first.
Thank you, Mr. C. Mr. Lau, would you like to say something?
Yes, if you're working with private sector, tulad ng sabi ni Henry, we are a very pragmatic bunch. We will only work on projects that will yield commercial application. And that's easier said than done because a lot of the problems or challenges we face take so much to solve. And the solution always has to make commercial sense. If we could not commercialize the solution, no matter what we throw at it, it will be a black hole for investments. So we are also very wary of taking on certain projects, knowing that time is involved, a lot of resources are involved, and quite often we validate that before getting started. We wanted to make sure that it will yield commercial success later.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lau. Tina, do you have questions?
Yes, I have a number of questions here. Thank you, Walt. This is from Janet Sabadera, and she is agreeing with Dr. Camacho's recommendation on easing up restrictions on chemicals. Is there a way that academic institutions, industries, and legitimate laboratories come together under the leadership of ICP or the PFCS, make an appeal to the government, particularly PNP, to ease, if not exempt us from their requirements? So anyone from ICP Yes,
Well,
go ahead, Toby.
yes, yeah, I'd like to answer that. Actually, the problem is not with the PNP because the PNP leadership, when they become head of the PNP, they stay there for 1 year. So you negotiate with one general, the head, and then they say, okay. And then the next general comes in the following year and they say you have to start again. So it's and the other issue that I've actually raised with the PNP is the FEO, the Firearms and Explosive Unit office of the PNP, does not have a chemist. I've asked them, why don't you put an item in the FEO for a chemist or a chemical engineer? But for some reason, they don't have the item. So it's always parang sino ba yan? Pushing the rock up the mountain and something. There's this anyway. So every year you start from scratch, but we haven't met them. Haven't met since the pandemic. So everything, I guess, is on hold since our last meeting with them. So yeah, so I think the problem is sort of structural. We negotiate with them whenever we're called to a meeting, but then when the next head comes along, we have to start from the beginning. But we're at it. Thank you.
Thank you. Another question from Bona Likmuan. There are news going around that some STEM students have decided not to pursue their strand in college. How can we keep students in pursuing chemistry and other degrees of the same strand? Probably this is addressed to Ma'am Wina.
Yes, Sir Volts. I think before we can look into possible solutions to that problem, I guess we have to find first the reasons why they wouldn't want to pursue chemistry anymore when they go into college. So if we can find out what these reasons are, then we can come up with solutions. So I'm trying to think of possible reasons. So maybe there is a lack of support. There's lack of financial support in particular, and then of course we know that there are scholarships given by DOST, and so maybe um, we could further advertise the scholarships given by DOST. Another possible reason might be the lack of they seem to feel that they lack preparation for the university or college chemistry. And so we could strengthen the chemistry curriculum or in general the science curriculum or STEM curriculum at the basic education level. So yun po, Sir Watts.
Yeah, probably we can address the same question to Dr. Camacho. How can we encourage students from high school to go into chemistry?
Yeah, so it's a phenomenon that students shy away from chemistry for various reasons, as indicated by Dr. Wina. The reasons, some of the reasons maybe is the unavailability of courses offered in the area because of the limited departments or capable departments to offer chemistry courses. So I guess the academe should be able to, and Board of Chemistry should also promote as well new departments in all over the Philippines. And of course, there is a need to promote through social media maybe that chemistry school, because that's what kids are looking at now, and the TikTok thing might be able to help us here. But yeah, why not? No, so that those things are possible because all we have to do is promote chemistry. And I guess one way, effective way, is if we can pull together ideas to come up with a teleserye, for example, that involves chemistry, that will actually be able to promote the value of chemistry. And I remember Aga Mulak's movie at teleserye before about ano siya, animal doctor, veterinarian, and the veterinary programs actually flourished during that time. And I guess there is a need for us to be creative in promoting science to our people.
Thank you. Yes, Dr. Dairit.
Nakamute ka,
Oh.
Toby.
Sorry. Try this to be more liberal with their programs because they have this policy, they freeze programs, so you can't introduce new programs. But obviously, with this, all the trends in science, we want to create new programs, interdisciplinary programs, etc. So that's a discouragement that CHED does not actually promote or allow schools to create programs which are more interdisciplinary. And I think the board will be willing to entertain those. Anyway, the board exams cover only the 5 basic subjects, so it doesn't really affect that so much. But you can, let's say develop a course on polymer chemistry, and as long as you have the basic 5 programs, you can still apply for take the board exam. So I think there are things we can adjust to allow to attract more young people to enter chemistry, and enter the degrees that sound good on TV, like forensic chemistry, for example. A lot of young people like forensic chemistry, pero wala namang degree ng forensic chemistry. Ngayon, kung papayagan naman ng board na basta nasa inyo yung 5 basic courses, then okay lang forensic chemistry yung degree, but then you have to go through CHED and do this. So I think we should be more facilitative and more proactive in creating programs that attract young people to take up chemistry. Hindi naman kailangan BS chemistry yung degree. Basta chemistry yung content. Sige, yun lang.
Thank you, Toby. I think Secretary Boy is raising his hand. Secretary Boy?
You are not asking me how to motivate them, so I volunteered. I think the best way really is to have very good chemistry teachers in high school, and that is why we are trying to promote scholarships in chemistry education in our scholarship program at SAI. Kasi paano ma-inspire yung mga bata kung hindi naman nakaka-inspire yung teacher niya at walang masyadong alam. So I think we really have to develop more good chemistry teachers who can be deployed in the basic high school education level. Thank you.
Tama kayo dyan, Secretary Boy. Pero may isa pang tanong dito para kay Secretary Boy Volts, ha? From
Okay.
Marty Mateo. Recently, the National Institute of Physics secured 3 billion direct funding from DOST for 6 years to produce the first Nobel Prize winner. I guess the chemistry community is up for it too. And here's the question, Secretary Boy. What are the steps that the DOST is taking to amend the highly bureaucratic procurement law for research institutions to increase productivity and efficiency? I guess this is essential to produce Nobel Prize in the Philippines.
Yeah, we are trying our best. We are raising the issue everywhere, but for as long as the law is there, it's really very difficult. So I think you can help us by way of advocacy, and I don't know who can change that law as soon as possible. It's really creating a lot of difficulties. So, for example, even if we release the money early for the research grant, and the procurement takes time, so the implementer really suffers. Okay, and it's happening. Well, of course, it's not only in DOST where this procurement problem is being encountered, but of course, for researchers, this is really very essential that they can get the necessary materials and equipment as soon as possible. So maybe you can suggest what we can do.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Secretary. Probably we can ask Dr. Resurrection if she has some thoughts on this one.
Well, first of all, I would like
Thank you,
to
sir.
say that I'm very happy to see my classmate Don't ask us how many decades ago, but I really am very happy to see Dr. Dory here in this Congress. Dory, very happy
Yeah.
to see you again.
Hi, Sir Boy. Yeah. We were classmates in some chemistry subjects before. Uh,
Mm.
Actually, I fully agree. No, I fully agree with what Dr. Boy said about getting inspiring high school teachers to teach chemistry, because that was what got me interested in chemistry. So because of a very inspiring teacher I had in chemistry in high school, I pursued chemistry. No? Also because of a scholarship from NSDB before, that only among the sciences they offered scholarships in this chemistry and other science science courses. Uh, our Now, because we have this chemtech, chemical technician, no, provided by the chemistry law, we have this exam for chemical technicians. And many of these chemical technicians, no, who have passed the licensure exam would like to go on and get a chemist license. No?
Mm.
So the only advice that we could give them is to have a second degree. Like they are graduate, the requirement for a ChemTech exam is just 30 units of undergraduate chemistry. But for the chemist licensure exam, the requirement is a BS in chemistry or an allied subject, which is biochem and BS agricultural chemistry only. So they would like to, take the chemist licensure exam, but they don't have the degree, these degrees, no. So I would, I just got a report from CLSU. They have this ladderized BS chemistry program, uh, wherein the first 2 years, a graduate of this program would have an associate in chemical technology, so they can take the ChemTech exam and then proceed with the four more years and finally graduate with a BS Chem program. I think that's a very good step towards this direction, no? Like having more of our chemical technology, because there are many, like in 3 years' time, we were able to get 5,000 licensed chemical technicians, no? Because the requirement is that 30 units. So that no, the curriculum of CLSU could be applied in other schools too.
Yeah, thank you, Ma'am Dory.
Yeah.
Yes, Dr. Dairi.
Yeah, actually, this chem law, a BS Chem major can also apply to take the licensure exam for ChemTech. Basta naka 30 units siya. So for the current chemistry majors, and you want to have a job while studying, you can take the licensure exam for chemical technology uh, after you finish your first 30 units. So and then you can do the full chemist licensure exam after you finish your degree.
Yeah. Ma'am Tina, can I have a follow-up question for Ma'am Dory?
Sure, go
So,
ahead, boss.
Ma'am Dory, I'm just curious, do you solicit feedback regarding the exams, the board exams from the examinees or from other stakeholders so that you can improve the questions or the type of exams?
Yeah, the only feedback that we get is from while the examinees are taking it, no? If they see any errors, they point it out, no? But that's about it. But as to the nature of the questions, I have to tell you that the questions are really based on a table of specs, a toss that we had presented in a public hearing and which CHED has looked at too. So we are in the process of updating it, you know. So people will be called to, I mean, there will be a public hearing on this, you know, consultative meetings with the stakeholders regarding this, and that would be the chance actually to give your or comments regarding the exam questions. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Ma'am Dory. Ma'am Tina?
Hey, this is another question from Ana Marie Ballesteros. I think this is for either Mr. Henry C. or Mr. Jun Lao. Raw materials for CME are expensive, while the cost of biodiesel is relatively cheap. How did your biodiesel business meet this challenge in profitability?
Okay. The biodiesel business is actually quite complex. And what we have been able to do through the fractionation of the methyl esters, we're able to produce a lot of other surfactants. So we have a plant that doesn't only make biodiesel, but we make surfactants. And the combination of these products would make um, I guess, the return better. But if the plant is going to be solely making biodiesel alone, surely the profitability won't be as good. It's the ability to be able to break up the coconut into many different fractions and finding downstream applications where you could harvest a little bit more value.
Thank you very much,
I
Mr.
think
Jun.
that's, yeah, I think that's all the time we have,
Pwede
Ma'am.
pa daw. Pwede pa
Oh,
daw
pwede pa
hanggang
ba?
ano, oo. Hanggang
Sige,
10:50. So
sige.
meron pa
Yeah,
tayong 3
okay.
minuto, Volts. Go ahead.
Okay. Probably the others would like to comment on that one, on the question. Wala na.
Very specific kasi on CME and
Okay,
biodiesel
okay.
So ito yung strength ng ChemRes
See,
Yes.
Sir Tina, it's right.
Siguro gusto sabihin, actually, Junao is very good. Their company is very good. Tama yung approach na. I showed the slide, maraming produkto sa coconut. So, you want to merge yung flexibility with efficiency. But they're the best people to do it. hanggang dito na ako.
Okay. Probably we can wrap up now, Ma'am Tina. So first and foremost, thank you very much to our speakers this morning. We have again Mr. Secretary Fortunato de la Peña. Thank you, Dr. Resurrection. Thank you very much, Mr. Dean Lau, Mr. Henry C. We have Dr. Camacho, Dr. Wina Paderna, and of course, Dr. Dairi. Thank you very much for all your time, for all the insights, for answering our questions. Ma'am Tina?
Thank you, Voss, and maraming salamat sa ating mga discussants, ang ating keynote speakers. This was very enlightening, and I'm sure that our participants are now starting to figure out how they will be able to contribute for our country to build back better. At this point, let me return the floor to Dr. Salcedo. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat.
Thank you very much. Stay safe.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Tina and Dr. Volz, for moderating that very insightful dialogue. And we hope that the discussion or the dialogue will help us align our thoughts and plans towards contributing to building back better through chemistry. And again, once again, thank you very much to our distinguished speakers and discussants. for spending this Friday morning with us despite your busy schedule. We really appreciate your time and expertise, sirs and moms. Thank you as well to our attendees who are now watching live via WUVA and YouTube. Thank you for actively participating in our discussion. Let us now have a short 15-minute health break, and we will be resuming by 11 or 10 minutes, I should say. We'll be resuming by 11 a.m. to announce the awardees of this year's PFCS Outstanding Achievement Awards. So see you later, guys. Okay, welcome back. We hope you all had a short, sulit, but refreshing health break. Are you all excited for this year's PFCS Outstanding Achievement Awards? Now hold on a bit to your congratulatory posts and messages. And to present to us the awardees for this year's PFCS Achievement Awards, let me call on Dr. Patrick Jan Lim, the chair of the awards committee. Dr. Patrick?
Thank you very much, Dr. Salcedo. At this point, we would like to invite you to join us as we recognize the outstanding achievements of our fellow chemists in the areas of education from both the secondary and tertiary levels, in industry, in research, and for service to the profession. The Federation awards deserving chemists who excel in these areas during the Philippine Chemistry Congress. This year, a committee composed of PFCS President Dr. Glenn Alea, Dr. Fidelis Tui, representing PACT, Maria Josephine Gonzalez, representing ICP, and yours truly, representing KKP, had the difficult assignment of selecting 5 awardees from a list of nominees endorsed by the member societies. Our first honoree today is Jonathan P. Derez, whose journey in the field of chemical education started when he studied at Far Eastern University and earned his Bachelor of Secondary Education major in chemistry in 1994. He completed his Master of Science in Chemical Education at De La Salle University, Manila, as a DepEd NEAP Tanyan Key Scholar. Currently, he serves as the Public Schools District Supervisor under the Department of Education in Manila. While teaching, Mr. Derez inspired students to be more active and engaged in learning chemistry, mentored them to develop quality research and investigatory projects, and encouraged them to join national and international science fairs. His student success in these events earned him the Outstanding Research Advisor Awards from Intel ISEF 3 times in 2002, 2004, and 2005. His desire to impart knowledge continued when he became a district supervisor. As a national writer with the Teaching and Learning Bureau of the Department of Education, he contributes to the development and conducts seminars and training for public school teachers on the DepEd curricula for science and research, and on the use of the process-oriented guided inquiry learning, or POGIL, method to address challenges in learning chemistry and other science subjects. The Philippine Federation of Chemistry Societies and Shimadzu Philippines Corporation present this Achievement Award for Chemistry Education, secondary level, to Jonathan P. Derez, given this 24th day of September in the year of our Lord 2021 during the 35th Philippine Chemistry Congress held virtually via WebEx and Huva from September 20 to 24, 2021.
To Dr. Glenn B. Ilaya, Chair, 35th Philippine Chemistry Congress, National Organizing Committee, President, Philippine Federation of Chemistry Societies Incorporated, Dr. Volter G. Organo, President, PACT National, and to all attendees in this year's 35th Philippine Chem Congress with the theme Build Back Better Through Chemistry. Good morning. First, I would like to thank the organizing committee for this prestigious award. The PFCS Outstanding Achievement Award for Chemistry Education, secondary level. It's been 2 years since this pandemic struck our country and the world. The field of education, industries, and among others are greatly affected. But we never stop thinking of ways how to mitigate the gap or even eradicate it, especially for our learners who are new to distant learning. Initiating innovation is one of our solutions to the current problem. Capacitating the teachers in developing instructional materials in chemistry topics which learners are having difficulty understanding the topic is of great help under distant learning. As an educator, we should not stop providing solutions confronting chemistry education because chemistry is the backbone of an industrialized nation. Again, thank you for this prestigious award and congratulations to the success of the 35th Philippine Chemistry Congress.
Congratulations, Mr. Deres, and more power. Moving on to our second awardee, she is Luciana Lucci Villafranca Ilao, a distinguished alumna of Adamson University who began teaching at her alma mater in 1977. By 1995, she became an affiliate faculty of the University of the Philippines Open University and later joined the Department of Physical Sciences and Mathematics at the College of Arts and Sciences in UP Manila. Her many achievements in chemistry education span multiple fields over an extended period. She taught various chemistry subjects from general chemistry and natural sciences to physical chemistry, analytical chemistry, and biochemistry. She mentored more than 40 undergraduate chemistry and biochemistry students involved in diverse research studies, including biosensors, natural products, and environmental chemistry. Her passion for teaching inspired her to co-author 3 general chemistry textbooks, including one written in Filipino. She was instrumental in developing the BS Biochemistry curriculum program at UP Manila. She also assisted and evaluated learning materials produced by the Department of Education. Her leading by example earned her much respect from various academic institutions and professional organizations. She served as head of the chemistry unit for 6 years and was appointed associate dean for planning and development in UP Manila for 2 terms. She also served the Philippine Association of Chemistry Teachers Incorporated, or PACT, as president for 7 years. She was also a board member and secretary of the Philippine Federation of Chemistry Societies and director of the Philippine Alliance of Laboratory Equipment Users Incorporated. Her laudable accomplishments in the field of chemical education earned her recognition from the Adamson University Alumni Association, where she was awarded the Outstanding Alumna in Education. She was also recipient of the R.S. Benedicto Professorial Chair conferred by UP Manila. The Philippine Federation of Chemistry Societies and Shimadzu Philippines Corporation present this Achievement Award for Chemistry Education tertiary level to Luciana V. Ila. Unfortunately, Mamlucci has left us for a better world. Receiving the award on her behalf is Attorney Gina V. Ilao.
Good
Attorney
morning.
Ilao.
Good morning. On behalf of my family, would like to express our gratitude for this recognition of my sister. If she were still here with us now, she would have been very elated and very busy. And the thing is, we wouldn't even know. At times, we wouldn't even know that she is receiving all these accolades because she's one who would flaunt about her accomplishments. So it's only now that she's gone that we realize how much she has really contributed to the chemistry world. So that So thank you for this. This is for my sister. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Attorney Ilao, and congratulations to Mom Lucy and the family. For our third award, we honor Geraldine Dina A. Estacio with a PFCS Outstanding Achievement Award in Chemical Industry. Dina is a board-certified chemist who graduated from the University of Santo Tomas. She earned an applied management in business administration degree from the Executive Development Academy. Dina manages her family-owned company, DJM Grandeur Corporation, which provides toll manufacturing services as well as assistance on regulatory compliance, on licensing and product registration with the Food and Drug Administration. Currently, she is the president of the Chamber of Cosmetics Industry of the Philippines and has conducted numerous training and capacity building for the local cosmetics industry. She is also actively engaged with ASEAN cosmetics organizations, cascading these regional standards to our own country's industry. With an experience spanning 4 decades, her expertise has expanded from formulation of cosmetics and home remedies to GMP, safety assessment, and halal certification. The Philippine Federation of Chemistry Societies presents this Outstanding Achievement Award in Chemical Industry to Geraldine A. Estacio.
Good morning, everyone. I thank the Philippine Federation of Chemistry Societies for this award, recognizing my effort to improve and raise the standards of the cosmetics industry of the Philippines. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Mrs. Tasha.
It's a beautiful morning, everyone. With a grateful heart, I am deeply honored as I receive this prestigious award. Receiving this award amidst this pandemic and while we are still under our home isolation stage is a gift from God. This is a direct message from our Lord telling me, get up, you are healed. Yes, this is enough reason for me to be strong and bounce back. COVID-19 is not a joke, but I strongly believe this is not yet the end of the line for me because there are a lot of people who depend on me, especially our employees, not only here in Manila, but also in Visayas and Mindanao. First and foremost, let me say, thank you, Lord. You are our greatest healer. Thank you, Mama Mary, for your guidance during these trying times. My sincerest thank you to President Glenn V. Alea and to the officers of the Philippine Federation of Chemistry Societies for this recognition as one of the recipients of the 2021 PFCS Outstanding Achievement Award. A million thank you goes to the people who are close to my heart. To my 3 daughters, you are my strength and inspiration. I will not be here without your unwavering support. And to my grandson, you are my energy booster. To my siblings who have been with me through the ups and downs. To my employees who never left me during the darkest hour in our company. To my relatives, friends, colleagues in the industry, business partners, To my batchmates from UST, Chemistry Batch 78 of 5 years, and also to my CCIP family. Thank you. You are the wind beneath my wings. Maraming salamat po. Ang award na ito ay para sa ating lahat. Thank you.
Congratulations once again, Ma'am Dina. In the area of chemical research, the Federation recognizes the outstanding achievement of Mario A. Tan. Mario obtained his bachelor's and master's degrees in chemistry from the University of Santo Tomas and his PhD from Chiba University in Japan. Currently, he is a professor at the Department of Chemistry, College of Science of the University of Santo Tomas. Dr. Tan is a complete natural products chemist who is involved not only in the isolation and identification of compounds, but also in the total synthesis of medicinal plant metabolites of biological importance. Foremost in his long list of accomplishments are significant studies on indigenous pandanus plants as a source of novel alkaloids. He also designed reaction pathways for and performed the asymmetric syntheses of complex alkaloids from commercially available precursors. This enabled him to unambiguously determine the absolute stereochemistry of these compounds. Currently, Dr. Tan's research group is working towards the identification of compounds with neuroprotective effects as potential inhibitors of Alzheimer's disease. The Philippine Federation of Chemistry Societies presents this outstanding achievement award in chemical research to Mario A. Tan, PhD.
I wish to express my heartfelt gratitude for the humble recognition given by the Philippine Federation of Chemistry Societies. Having been in the academe for 20 years now, doing teaching and research, this is indeed very special. It is with great honor and humility that I accept this award. I couldn't have done it without the support of my professors, especially my research mentors, to Professor Maribel G. Nonato, who introduced me to the wonderful world of pandans, to Professor Hiromitsu Takayama, who not only trained me to do excellent chemistry, but more importantly, made me quite adept in surviving the research world by training me well in writing manuscripts and how to be professional in responding to reviewers' tough comments. I am very thankful to them for having the faith that I have the untapped potential to be realized. They have been, and up until now, my role models. Working at this field gave me the opportunity to promote scientific research and development, both in natural products and synthetic chemistry, by tapping and utilizing the potentials of endemic Philippine plants as new sources of biologically active materials. To the Tomasian angiosperm and phylogeny barcoding group, headed by Professor Jonathan Alejandro, thank you for supplying me the precious plant materials. It also gave me an opportunity to impart my expertise into the field to the younger generation of scientists, my undergraduate and graduate students. Thank you for trusting me to be your advisor. Whatever modest contribution I was able to make, I commend my students who deserve to equally share this achievement with me. This award inspires me more to bring innovation into my future research, which I am happy to offer to my beloved institution, the University of Santo Tomas, and to the Department of Chemistry, and hopefully this would go on to benefit the Filipino people. I pay homage to the Lord for blessing me to come this far. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Tan. I believe Mario is with us live from Korea, where he is right now. Mario, nakamute ka, sorry. Mario. Mario, I think mute ka.
I think there's something wrong with his audio configuration. Sir Mario, if you could see the mute button at the bottom of WebEx, there's a caret there. Please click it and then choose another microphone. We still can't hear you. All right.
All right. Sige, Mario. Well, thank you for joining us and taking time away from your research activities there. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, join me in presenting the last award. It is rare to find someone who has contributed to the advancement of chemistry in the Philippines, to encompass all sectors of society through intangible dimensions. The Philippine Federation of Chemistry Societies wishes to honor such a rare person and now has the privilege to confer this outstanding achievement award for service to the chemistry profession to Edna Callejas Mijares. Ma'am Edna has contributed significantly to industry, government, and academia. As President and Chief Operating Officer of Jeffcore Laboratories Incorporated, she nurtured and developed one of the leading chemical analytical laboratories in the country, particularly assisting the agricultural sector to meet the stringent requirements for pesticide residue analysis. She has generously contributed her time, knowledge, and even financial resources to help students from elementary up to the graduate levels with scholarships, review classes for the chemist licensure examinations, as well as on-the-job training opportunities. With her considerable experience in business and chemical analysis, Edna has been a key member in numerous government regulatory standards and law enforcement agencies, including the Philippine Pesticide Authority, the Department of Health, Bureau of Product Standards, Environmental Management Bureau, and the Philippine National Police. Her 20 years of dedicated and transformative service to the integrated chemists of the Philippines culminated with the passage of the Professional Chemistry Law, RA 10657, in 2015. As ICP's Vice President for External Affairs, Edna worked tirelessly assisting the Board of Chemistry and strengthened and empowered many ICP chapters around the country. It is our pride and joy to present this award for outstanding achievement for service to the chemistry profession to Edna C. Mijares.
Okay. My heartfelt thanks to my colleagues, peers, and friends from all over the country for recognizing my service to the chemistry profession. 20 years. Thank you, PFCS. Thank you.
Dr. Glenn Alea, Chair, 35 PCC Organizing Committee, respective members of the chemical societies under PFCS, KKP, ICP, PACT, and PACS, resource speakers, participants, guests, and fellow awardees, good noon. It is with great honor that I receive this recognition as PFCS Outstanding Achievement Awardee for service in the profession. This is very important to me as this is also the first award I am receiving from my colleagues and peers in the chemistry community
After serving as member of the board of director of the Integrated Chemists of the Philippines for 2 decades and several years with PFCS. Likewise, I am happy that this recognition is awarded virtually. It has come at a better time when I do not need to climb up the stage, because if this is awarded 5 years or so from now, I may not have the ability to go up the stage on my own due to my aging knees. Seriously, I never intended to be a chemist. I went to Suliman University as a scholar of Bago City philanthropist, the late Miss Gregoria V. Havillana, to enroll in chemical engineering, only to realize that BS Chemical Engineering was, and until today, not offered. I was guided to the chemistry department of the university, and only then did I know that there was a so-called Bachelor of Science in Chemistry. My journey as a Silliman student in chemistry has molded me spiritually and academically, which qualified me to be selected as an outstanding Silliman alumna in 2011, the distinction which has further developed me to serve where my services are duly needed. The University of the Philippines, Los Baños, my alma mater, for my MS degree in entomology, major in insecticide toxicology, and my first job in NIST NSDB, now ITD-IDOST, have exposed me to the arena of research and government service. The special privilege given to me by De La Salle University to teach as a visiting assistant professorial lecturer, both in the graduate and undergraduate chemistry courses. And finally, my long exposure in the industry have further widened my vision and understanding of how and what become of me today in the field of the chemistry profession. To God the Almighty, who has always shown me the way to do good and share blessings with fellow men, I offer this award. To my colleagues and family in the chemistry profession, our registered chemists and chemical technicians, the 13 chapters and 4 clusters nationwide that have worked together in helping the Board of Chemistry implement the Chemistry Profession Act, the members of the Board of Chemistry, Honorable Adoracion Resurrection, Tess Caiton, and Soledad Castañeda, to my fellow chemist and chemistry advocate, a friend, ICP President, and NAST academician, Dr. Fabian Dairit, along with the members of the ICP Board, past and present, and of course, Dr. Marisa Noel of DLSU Manila, whose silent hands made a success in the passing of the bill in Congress several times. Thank you. Last but not the least, to my Jeffcor family, my siblings, Noy and Nening Emma, my children, Christian, Jico, and Dr. Swico with husband, Bong Maravilla, our little apo, Morgan Luis, and of course, my husband, Jeffrey Mijares, for the love, patience, support, and full understanding throughout this journey. Thank you so much. To end, let me share with you a few lines of the poem, The Best of Whatever You Are by Douglas Mallock, and I quote, "If you can't be a pine on top of the hill, be a scrub in the valley, but be the best little scrub by the side of the rill. If you can't be a highway, then just be a trail. If you can't be the sun, be a star. It isn't by size that you win or you fail. Be the best of whatever you are."
Thank you, Edna. Certainly, it's not by size. You really deserve that award, ma'am. Congratulations once again to all our awardees. Unfortunately, we could not take a group picture with you. We will try to do that, hopefully when conditions improve. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the conferment of the PFCS Outstanding Achievement Awards for 2021. Thank you so much for joining us in honoring our awardees this year. Back to you, Dr. Salcedo.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lim. Maraming salamat and congratulations once again to all our PFCS Achievement Awardees. Probably another round of virtual applause for our awardees. Congratulations. So time really flies, no? So the 35th Philippine Chemistry Congress, which lasted 5 days, is drawing to a close. We have finally arrived at the conference's conclusion, the closing ceremony. At this point, let me call on Dr. David Peñalosa, the chair of the Board of Judges for the Best Poster competition. Dr. Peñalosa?
Thank you, Dr. Salcedo. Can you hear me?
Yes, Doc.
Good morning, everyone. There are 111 poster entries, and the committee composed of yours truly, Dr. Eugene Bacolod of the University of San Carlos, Dr. Maria Fe Calingacion of De La Salle University, Manila, and Dr. Alan Patrick Macabeo of the University of Santo Tomas, evaluated these entries using a rubric formulated by the 35th PCC Organizing Committee. Each best poster winner will receive a certificate and a cash prize of 3,000 pesos. We are happy to announce the 5 winning entries in no particular order of ranking based on evaluation. The best poster award goes to the entry P021, incorporating micronutrients fortificants in ultrasonicated rice, led to its firmer rheological characteristics with the presenting author Aldrin Bonto. Congratulations. The next winner is poster 051, imidazolium-based ionic liquid electrolytes infused with titania particles for energy harvesting device prototypes with the presenting author Jonathan Patricio. Congratulations. The next poster is P053 with the title Chlorhexidine Loaded Electrospan Cellulose Acetate Nanofiber Membrane from Banana, Musa acuminata balbisiana, pseudostem fibers for biomedical application. The presenting author is Carlo M. Macaspal. Congratulations. The next poster is P097, Sustainable and Environmentally Friendly Energy Storage Devices, Polyaniline Multi-Walled Carbon Nanotube, Water Hyacinth Cotton, and Polypyrrole Multi-Walled Carbon Nanotube, Pinya Cotton Textile Composites, with the presenting author, David Joseph Alzate. Congratulations. And finally, poster P099, Study of Mutable Collagenous Tissue in Stichopus cf. Horrens at different mechanical states using second harmonic generation microscopy with the presenting author Mayan Bagnos Naval. May I request all the winners to contact Miss Marie Grace Insik of the PFCS through her email address secretariat@pfcs.org.ph or the PFCS mobile number 0917-145-8445. Thank you and have a nice day. Thank you, Alan.
Thank you very much, Dr. Peñalosa. And again, congratulations to all the poster winners. Now, for the much-awaited announcement of winners for the exciting 35th PCC What is Love Dance Challenge. Nag-submit ba kayo ng entries niyo? May I call on Mr. Nick Tan, member of the 35th PCC Publicity Committee. Nick?
Thank you, Sir Alan. Good morning. Before I announce the winners of the 35 PCC What is Lab Dance Challenge, I would just like to commend all those who have participated in this little gig we just thought of a few weeks ago. This wasn't supposed to be part of the program, but we felt that we need something to connect us all as we participate in this Congress, given the current situation. We hope that this brought you just a bit of joy, kahit konti man lang, because I and my fellow judges, Eliar Dianza, Flor Male, Julie Trinidad, Grace Insik, and even PFCS President Dr. Glenn Alea certainly enjoyed watching your entries. Naiingit nga kami, buti pa kayo nakasayaw, kami hindi. Without further ado, I will now announce the winners. There is one winner for each category. The winner for the solo category receiving 300 pesos is Lyndon Lage Pilong. So let's give him a few moments to run this video first. So congratulations, Lyndon. Pak na pak, bigay na bigay, sabi nga ni Ate Julie. The winner for the small category receiving 600 pesos is Raisa Herrera and Company. So edit kung edit, bigay na bigay din sila. So congratulations. And finally, the winner for the big category receiving 1,500 pesos is Jumadan Hadjarani and Company. So congratulations to all of the winners. Napaindak ninyo po kaming lahat. To claim your prize, please contact Miss Mary Grace Insik via the email and cell phone number being shown on screen. Marami pong salamat sa pagsali. Back to you, Sir Alan.
Thank you very much, Nick, and congratulations to all the winners. Indeed, that contest is very exciting, no? Siyempre, hindi magpapahuli ang mga chemists sa kung ano man ang trending ngayon. And now, to officially close the 35th Philippine Chemistry Congress, let me call on the President of the Philippine Federation of Chemistry Societies and this year's Chair of the 35th PCC, Dr. Glenn V. Alea. Dr. Glenn?
Thank you, Doc Alan. Good afternoon, everyone. This has been a hectic week for most of us. I am sure that many of you have been multitasking, listening to the sessions, while at the same time doing some office work, lab experiments, or household chores. But I do hope that you enjoyed the 35th PCC. This is indeed groundbreaking, conducting the Congress virtually for the very first time. It has its advantages. One is that the opportunity to listen to all the talks is possible since video recording are available just in case you missed it. Engagement with the presenters is not limited since you can communicate with them via the WUVA platform. The opportunity to interact with other participants is also there, and May took advantage of this given the number of message exchanges recorded. Indeed, the online platform has its advantages. Of course, what has been missed are the activities behind the sessions. For those who regularly attend the PCC, you must have missed the conversations, the laughter behind the scenes, the opportunity to meet new friends, to see your forever PCC crush, and of course, the food and the drinks that we share during or after the sessions. The tone of the 35th PCC is set by the plenary talk of academician William Padolina. He enlightened us on the state that we are in and the things that can be done to move forward and build back
better. It is a challenge for all of us, and let us figure out what we can personally do, what we can do as a team, what we can do as a community to contribute to the realization of a better future. We had 3 plenary lectures that are all very insightful. We also had 8 keynote talks and many oral and poster presentations. The chemistry community remains active in research even during this pandemic. The quality of research of our colleagues is still of high standard. The discussion forum this morning is very, very engaging. It started with Secretary De La Peña giving us a glimpse of what DOST are doing addressing the concerns during this time. He emphasizes on the significant role of chemistry and, of course, chemists play in many DOST projects and programs aligned with building back better. The second keynote talk this morning of Mr. Henry C. focused on how chemical industry can contribute to nation building and what his company is doing towards this end. During the discussion proper, our resource persons provided valuable insights that are very well appreciated. The 35th PCC has so far the most number of attendees compared to previous congresses. I would like to think that the more than 2,000 of us are here not only for the sake of CPD units, but of genuine enthusiasm to learn, get updated, and welcome insights from other researchers. At this point, I would like to take the opportunity to thank the following who made this Congress a success. First and foremost, thank you to the members of the organizing committee for channeling a lot of your personal time to focus in the preparations to ensure the smooth conduct of the Congress. You really stepped up, and I sincerely thank you all. Thank you to all our volunteer MCs and moderators. I know that with the uncertainties in internet connectivity, the availability of questions that you need to ask, it is a bit stressful and challenging. Thank you to all our sponsors. Your generosity and continued support for the PCC is also very much appreciated. And lastly, thank you to all our attendees for your active participation. I hope that the last 5 days have been productive. I hope that your enthusiasm to learn will be sustained. Let us all commit ourselves to lifelong learning, inspire others, and commit to do our share to build back better through chemistry. Thank you.
We present a video looking back at the previous 5 days. Thank you very much, Dr. Glenn Alea, and to all the members of the organizing committee. Congratulations, a big congratulations for a very successful first ever virtual edition of the Philippine Chemistry Congress. But before we say goodbye to each other, let us hear from the president of the Philippine Association of Chemistry Teachers, PACT, Dr. Voltaire Organo, who will share some important announcements for next year's PCC.
Thank
Dr.
you.
Volts.
Yeah, thank you, Alan. Good morning. And I am pleased to inform you that the 36th Philippine Chemistry Congress will be hosted by the Philippine Association of Chemistry Teachers. To know more about the 36th PCC, let us first watch this video. Nick? Thank you. So the 36th PCC will be a 3-day virtual conference with the theme Chem Plus Solutions, Stability, and Sustainability. This is a call to all sectors of society, the academe, government, and industry for an integrated, collaborative, and multidisciplinary approach in providing solutions to national and global challenges of the times. With chemistry at the forefront, these solutions should be stable and sustainable. Again, to all participants, please mark your future calendars, September 29 to October 1, 2022, for the 36th Philippine Chemistry Congress. See you then. Back to you, Alan.
Thank you very much, Dr. Volts. And probably our participants now are excited and looking forward again to the next PCC. Thank you for that very important announcement. Now, again, on behalf of the organizing committee, we are expressing our heartfelt gratitude for bringing us into your homes and for making this virtual Congress one to remember. Now, before we go, can we have the screen for the evaluation? We would like to remind everyone to please fill up the evaluation form. Yeah, instructions on how to claim your e-certificate are now posted on the WUVA app. So balik tayo sa WUVA app and will be sent to your email address. Okay, so see you next year at the 36th PCC. Have a great day ahead. So this has been the 35th Philippine Chemistry Congress officially signing off. Have a pleasant afternoon and always be cautious, stay safe and healthy. See you.
Bye-bye. Yay! Well done, well done. Well
Congrats,
Good
PFCS.
job, PFCS.
Congratulations, PFCS.
Thank you sa inyong lahat.
Congratulations.
Abangan.
Salamat sa inyo.
Congratulations.
Congrats, congrats.
Congratulations, Ma'am Ed.
Thank you.
Congratulations,
Congratulations.
everyone. Team Sando, team No Tulog. Togoli.
Alam ko, iiyak si Edna eh.
Edna, umiiyak ka pa, Edna.
We're live on
Lore, congrats, Lore.
Good job.
Thank you, Yard. Yay!
Congrats, congrats.
Everyone. Everyone.
Yes.
Big stop share na para kita lahat.
Ano?
I'll stop speech sharing para kita lahat.
May picture ba muna?
Oh, picture.
Good picture sa
Ayan.
Kasi
lahat.
wala yung music.
Ayan.
Grid.
Yay!
Very good background.
Oh, Tina.
Yung background ko.
Hello. Ayan, we're live on Huba.
Congrats, congrats.
Yay!
Yay!
Naka-grid view na
Dami.
rin tayo sa Huba.
Ba?
Good job, Glenn.
Wow, Edna.
Wow.
Maraming salamat.
Wow.
Oo, ang
Congrats
galing-galing.
Ba't hindi naka-baby breath si Sinit?
Well, siyempre, may spill ako eh.
Meron.
Oo.
Oy,
Sanay na kami. Sanay
yung
na kami,
TikTok
Nick.
ha, talagang galing pa kanina. Very good. Very good yung TikTok.
Ah, very good.
Ang daming sumali, hindi ko akalain na... Well,
Dami nga, sir.
Ang ganda ng ending, no? Yung
Eh,
Trinari, really nice.
Na-inspire kay Julie eh.
Yeah, it's very hard to judge.
Bakit nasa YouTube
itong
pa
mga
kayo?
chemist, itong aking former guest.
Kayo, picture.
May talent pala yun.
Picture na tayo for lunch.
Need pa picture.
Sino
Ako, teka.
Nick, nasa YouTube tayo? Eliar,
Yes.
Nasa Huba.
Nasa Huba tayo now. So say hi.
Okay.
Hello everyone. Hello. Ako na pipicture sa atin.
Kompleto.
MM,
wow.
wala sila MM. Si Philip,
One.
Eric.
Oh, si Ashley,
Sino
si
pa?
Eric.
Ellie.
Sir Eric, wala.
Kali tayo lahat.
Ashley.
Doc Noel, asa?
Yan, bukas, Eric. Ashley, MM.
Okay.
Ayun.
1, 2, 3. Isa pa. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Thank you.
God bless
Sige.
everyone.
Stay safe,
Salamat.
everyone.
Salamat
you.
po.
Bye-bye.
Happy weekend. Thank you,
Ibabalik
everyone.
natin.
Very good. Nick Elyard.
Pahinga.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's next
Sir
week.
Glenn, congrats.
Salamat.
Dr. Voltaire, most stylish.
Ah, ang ganda-ganda pa rin.
Oo nga eh.
Thank you.
Ang gagaling na
Best
lahat.
speech.
Kaya,
Ma'am Ed, natouch ako doon. Okay, goodbye. Happy weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you po.
President.
Thank you, Ma'am Pinky.
Thanks
Sige.
salamat.
Maraming
Bye
salamat.
po.
Galing-galing.
Ingat po.
Everyone.
Yun na yun. I-off na natin sa Huba. Cut na sa
Bakasyon na kayo,
Huba.
Nick at Elyard.
Sir, ano po yun?
Kaya pa? Ano yun, sir?
Bakasyon na kayo.
Thank you. Pero sa susunod,
marami pong work.
suot mo ng barong kahit naka-chuletas.
Happy weekend. Enjoy your weekend. Bye.
Bye.
kay Ma'am Edna. Bye-bye.
Yan na yung costume mo.
Ma'am Flora.
Congrats po,
Oh.
Ma'am Edna. Congrats.
Boss,
Naiyak ako kay Ma'am Edna.
May collection dapat ang mga sombrero. Tuwing lalabas ka, bagong
Ma'am
sombrero.
Edna, naiyak ako. Kala ko ako naiyak ka kanina, Ma'am Edna.
Pati yung ano mo ha, yung attire mo for today, really nice.
Thank you.
Sige.
Thank you.
Bye-bye na po.
Salamat po.
Sige.
Bye.
Salamat, Nick. Salamat, Edward.
And
Thank you, Nick.
salamat din, sir.
Yeah.
Salamat, Sir Bolt.
Thank you. Galing nyo,
Ikaw na ba
galing nyo.
magka-cut?
Tech team. Ang galing, tech team.
Next year, sir, baka kami ulit. Bye-bye, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Wait, I'll stop streaming.
Bye-bye, bye-bye.
Oy, Nick, thank you. At saka Eliard.
Salamat po, Miss Flor.
you, ma'am.
Salamat.
Sa ulitin, sa ulitin. Thanks,
Opo.
bye!
Bye.
Thank you, bye-bye.